I never had anything to give in the early years, because we started with no money. And my father, growing up, he was a very generous person. I learned from my father the importance of faith and a value of a dollar.
Well, my mom and dad founded the business in 1976. And from the very beginnings, they've modeled generosity. Even when they didn't have much money, they were generous with their time, the way they treated people, and they could give when they could. And over time, we've watched them give more and more of their financial resource.
I never wrote anything down that said, I'm going to be in the Senate someday and I'm going to start a business and it's going to be successful and I'm going to have my four sons in it, which is my dream. I just kept turning things over one day at a time to God, showed up, and then we were just blessed in all these ways.
And I know at Kelly today, as an organization, we model much of our giving really after a biblical challenge that talks about giving locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. So we have a four-pillar giving philosophy, and we try to give in those areas.
Where I learned the principle of giving back is like 50 years ago. I realized I had an alcohol problem, and I went to AA. And in AA, they have 12 steps, which are phenomenal for anybody that's dealing with something they can't control. The first step in AA is to admit that you're powerless, your life's unmanageable over alcohol. Second step is you come to believe that a power greater than yourself can restore you. And then the third step, which is the most important, and it's the name of the book I wrote, Surrender to Win. You've got to surrender what you can't control to God. So I've always, since that experience, tried not to focus on myself, but others. So I always had in the back of my mind that whenever I was in a position to give back, I would do it.
In 1978, my dad runs for state senate and wins. And he quickly learned that this ignited a flame inside of him, a passion for public service and community service in helping pull people together to solve problems. And he models that every day for us.
The first board I sat on was Shock Trauma, University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center. And how that came about is when I ran for the Senate in 78, I ran against a guy by the name of Dutch Rubensberger. Dutch is now a member of Congress, and he had been in a really bad automobile accident. They flew him to shock trauma, and they saved his life. So all he talked about when he ran against me was he was going to help shock trauma. And then he and I actually became friends through this experience. We had a big debate in Carroll County one night, and we went out to dinner, and I'm telling Dutch, I said, Dutch, I don't know who's going to win this race, but I promise you, if I win, I'll look out for shock trauma.
If there's one word that I would share that comes to mind about my dad, it would be generosity. And I remember when he first met Cal Ripken Jr. They had a lunch that was supposed to be 2 hours that turned into 4 or 6. And not too far after that, Cal asked my dad to get involved with the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation Board. My dad jumped at the opportunity. And then not soon after did he get on the board, or he got involved in chairing the gala, which is a big lift. That's a heavy lift to chair a gala. And my dad helped reprice it and refocus it. And it became one of the largest fundraisers anywhere in the city of Baltimore, the state of Maryland, and probably around the country.
The Cal Ripken Senior Foundation is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year, and we have come such a long way in that time period. It's really amazing. And one of the most important tools we have is our board of directors. We couldn't have done this without them. And there's no board member who's been more important to us or to our success than Senator Frank Kelly. In the beginning, the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation was trying to find its direction. And as we moved forward and started to develop some impactful programs, one of those programs was building what we call youth development parks, but they're these beautiful synthetic turf sports fields and parks. We were struggling like crazy, trying to figure out how do you go about building one field?
It was a very small undertaking. We're going to build a few in Baltimore. We're going to build one up in Aberdeen where the Rippens grew up. And we're having this fundraiser, and they asked me to explain what we do. So I'm just up there telling them what we do. And they said, matter of fact, we're going to build 50 fields in the next 5 years.
And Frank and Robbie and I are standing there. Cal turns to Frank and says, did we talk about this? It was great. So, and that's how we ended up with the goal of 50. Frank made it up on the spot, but he was challenging us and pushing us, and it gave us a vision.
You don't give to get. You get to give. the personal service that you can give, your ability to jump in and help with something, is more important than money. People watch the way you live. They'll listen to what you have to say, but if you don't walk the talk, they're not going to follow you.
The family follows his and Janet's lead. Clearly, they've established this foundation of goodness. And I've been so fortunate to have been around just a small part of it, because I've learned and grown from it, and I've become a better person because of them.